Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're reviewing the loose cannon reconstruction of part 3 of the Celestial Toymaker, which I believe is called the Dancing Floor. I've liked the little riddles they've been doing, which show up again at the end of the credits. That's pretty cool. This one is fun. Again, as I've mentioned in other reviews, I like the fantasy element of this story. The kind of dream-like quality of it, like you're walking in a dream with that whole minimalist approach. I've been enjoying that. Again, I think Hartnell's on holiday here, which is a clever way to do that. And I know one of the reasons he was turned invisible was because the producer at the time, the one that took over after Verity left, was it John Wiles or Willis or whatever his name was? I know him and Hartnell clashed, and he wanted to replace Hartnell, and that was kind of his idea originally, was that when the Doctor reappeared at the end, it would be somebody different. But the powers that be were like, no, we can't do that. And then John quit in protest, which I'm glad he did, because I know he didn't employ the guy who does the telesnaps, John Cura. He didn't employ him for this telesnap services. That's why we don't have a lot of telesnaps for his little run as producer. Thank goodness it's as short as it was. I enjoyed this one. I think Steve and Dodo carry the story well. I do like, again, having the guest cast back, who I'm guessing some of the guest cast from previous stories, because that's definitely, the woman playing the cook is definitely the actress from LOLO, because she is using that more Edith voice she has, that high-pitched kind of... That's definitely her. And she's great in this. I mean, she's a good comedic actress. I love LOLO. She's fantastic in that. So she does a really good job here. And then the guy playing the soldier. And they're very much playing these kind of stereotypical two-dimensional characters, which I think is kind of the point. They're, dolls come to life, basically, or things in a fairy tale come to life. So they are supposed to be simplistic and two-dimensional. Excuse me. She very much exemplifies the upper middle-aged woman who's in charge of her kitchen, and don't mess with my fine china, and don't you get that dirty over there, young man, whereas the soldier is very much the stiff upper lip. Madam, you do not tell me what to, They very much fit that category. I love when they get into it and they're throwing stuff at each other. I really wish this episode survived, because that strikes me as a very funny sequence. I mean, you can tell just from the pictures, the reconstruction, and from the audio, that's supposed to be a very funny sequence. It was still giving me chuckles, but I would have loved to have been able to actually see it, see the original episode. I wish it survived, because I'm sure that was absolutely hilarious and meant to be hilarious, and I would have enjoyed seeing that. So I enjoyed watching Steve and Dodo talking back and forth, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to find this key, realizing that the other, the cook and the sergeant and the kitchen boy are kind of working against them to distract them. It's interesting seeing the Toymaker actually get mad, because he's been, charming isn't quite the word, that's sinister charming a little, but he does you kind of see his dark streak here when he gets onto them. If y'all don't slow them down on the dance floor, I will break both of you into pieces. You can kind of see that. You obviously know the Celestial Toymaker is a sore loser. So if he loses, he's going to be very childish about it. You can just tell. Because he doesn't want a fair game. He wants to treat a win like he won at a fair game, but he doesn't want to actually play a fair game. As I mentioned before, he wants to have the deck stacked in his favor. It's interesting how when the Doctor tries to slow down playing with his one hand, the Toymaker's like, you're taking too long, and he, is like, computer move to move 743 or whatever. Still going too slow, move to 8, he's keeping the Doctor moving at that pace so the Doctor can't stall. It does a good job of Hartnell not being there fitting into the story, so it's not problematic. Even though he's gone for 2 episodes straight, it doesn't feel like a bother, because Steve and Dodo do such a good job carrying the story, which is just good on Jackie and Peter. They do a really good job here. I liked it. Not too much the dance floor part. You know, it's very basic. It's not really a big dance floor from the pictures. Again, it takes that very minimalist approach the story has taken, as I've talked about in other reviews. I liked it. I can't decide if I thought the episode was too long or too short. I really can't make up my mind. Again, it's a little harder to tell with reconstructions. It's a really good reconstruction by Loose Cannon. I mean, you can tell where they've had to create a lot of these fake telesnap pictures themselves because, again, telesnaps really weren't taken of this, so they're having to work off other photos, production photos from other stories, and Photoshop them and move them around. But the care that's given to kind of create telesnaps is really impressive, and it really helps because it does help me watching these stories to have a visual representation on screen of what's going on, and I very much appreciate all the effort that went into it. I liked episode 3. Again, I like when Doctor Who steps out of its comfort zone and does these kind of dreamlike fantasy stories, a lot like The Mind Robber. I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to getting to episode 4 because episode 4 I know survives, and I love when the final episode of a story survives. So, having read the novel, I know we get to watch Hartnell kind of be awesome at the end. So I'm looking forward to getting to part 4 since it does survive. The final test, I believe it's called. So episode 3 of The Celestial Toymaker, The Dance Floor. What do you think of it? What do you think of the Loose Cannon reconstruction? Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon if you like what I do and would like to support what I do, because that does help me keep bills paid. There's a link to that down in the description below. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Finn Perkins, and Colin Coney. I appreciate their continued support as I do the support of all of my patrons. I've really enjoyed watching the Patreon grow since I started it. It's been really fun. It makes my day that people like what I do that much, enjoy my content that much. I also have a P.O. box if anyone would like to send me anything, and there is a link to my Amazon wish list down there as well. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.